Hey, Shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Nahman with the DC Cap Branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. First and foremost, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Not to mention numerous videos that they put up on the daily. All right, further pushing out this truth. All right. So what we have here is the copyright disclaimer, because I'm using a video here. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, all of which I am doing. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that may otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use, fair use, fair use. All right. Now, we've often tried to tell you that, especially under the current circumstances, this so-called white man, these Edomites, are desperate. They feel their grip on rulership slipping, so it should come as no surprise, all right, to the depths they will go in trying to hold on. And I've often stated this, but in the way that, for instance, we know the atrocities that this piece of shit has committed in order to get where he is. Something to consider, though, is what lengths will he go to hold on to it? All right. And in this is from, redacted. But it shows you, it says, alien tech? Question. Mysterious UFO orb sparks global panic. U.S. Congressman speaks out. He actually went down there. He's from Missouri, but he's given an interview from D.C., here in D.C., redacted news. All right, so here we go. And just keep in mind these two scriptures. That's St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 24, and Revelation chapter 13. We'll go into that. Here we go.
Well, late one afternoon near Buga, Colombia, people noticed this strange sphere flying through the sky. Take a look at this. What in the world is this? Is it like a soccer ball, a balloon? No. A treasure hunter, Jose Restrepo, was simply metal detecting nearby when the same sphere plummeted from the sky, sparked a power line, and then landed at his feet. So many people saw it, eyewitnesses seeing it, capturing it on film. This set off, of course, international sensation. Like, what is this thing moving laterally, up and down, then plummeting to the earth? This enigmatic orb, later dubbed the Buga Sphere, reported suddenly tripling in weight from roughly 2 kilograms to 10 kilograms, and it contains embedded fiber optic network cables with very odd thermal magnetic behaviors, and it has weird etched symbols on the side, possibly of extraterrestrial, or maybe it's clandestine. Here it is. So no one exactly knows. They've been analyzing it. Then overnight, men dressed in fake police gear tried to steal it after it was under lock and key. Dr. Stephen Greer has been there in Mexico with his team investigating this, and he just posted this on social media. Watch.
We've just been notified by Jaime Mason that there was an attempt by fake policemen to enter the vault where this Buga Sphere is stored, and we have notified security and the apparatus I'm working with under law enforcement. And you should know that the other risk here is that we have taken specific samples from the Buga Sphere that will be tested in a state-of-the-art lab to prove whether or not the metal, as well as some of the other components, are of Earth or outer space origin.
Salaki.
So what in the world is this? Well, someone who went to Mexico to lay eyes on this and actually get a firsthand experience of this is Representative Eric Burleson, member of the United States Congress, who joins us now while he's not dealing with the Biden family corruption and who was using the auto pen, which you've been knee deep in those hearings as well. But you've also been trying to figure out what in the hell landed in Colombia. Congressman, great to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Great to see you, Clayton and Natalie.
So what you were there? I mean, what's your just kind of on the ground assessment of what this thing is? And why did you go?
I remain skeptical. I went because I feel like I have a responsibility. I'm on the committee that investigates these things. I'm on the oversight committee and the task force for disclosure. We are specifically involved, in an effort to try to figure out what is going on in our skies, whether it's these things that look like drones or these spheres that are floating around. Or orbs that look like plasma orbs. There's been a lot of sightings. A lot of we've had people come and testify, pilots come and testify that they've had near miss experiences with some of these objects. And so at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're trying to get down to the bottom of what this is, and so that is why I went.
So tests being performed on this thing. In the initial tests and assessments, what are we finding?
Well, just in looking at the sphere, it is an interesting object. What's intriguing to me is that at first glance, it looks handmade, and so it's interesting in that regard. They've taken some of the samples, and I think what they're going to do, the metallic samples, and that was actually pretty. I watched that negotiation happen where they decided how much they were going to be allowed to cut out, the scientists, and they're going to take that metallic sample and try to determine if that metal originated from Earth or from off-world from Earth. And so they needed a particular amount of material in order to determine that, and so that was a difficult task, but they were able to get that. And then they took samples from these holes that are on the side of the sphere that go around, basically what would seem like the equator of the sphere. And in each one of those holes, and I did see it under microscope, you could see a design that was. So within each hole, you had hundreds and hundreds of other small holes that might have been that were called similar to fiber optics, right? And so they've taken that material, and that material can be tested for carbon dating, see how old it was, etc. So it was good to be there to see them take these samples directly, because then whenever I see the results and knowing the team that's actually doing the study and the scientific team that's going to be evaluating the results, I do have confidence in that team.
I mean, how is this thing flying sideways? I mean, so I'm with you. I remain skeptical. I know that the United States government has incredible technology. Now, is it because of reverse engineered of these craft that have been downed and we have in our possession? But how is this thing? I mean, did you see any sort of propulsion mechanism on it? Is it using some sort of an anti-gravity technology that we just don't?
That's why I said this could just be a hoax, a distraction. Again, the lengths that these people will go to. It's all kinds of things that are really important. I doubt very seriously that. We talk about the chariots and all that. They want to make this big thing about Roswell, and I think it was 47 with the crash, and reverse engineering from that, and whatever else supposedly crashed and landed, whatever. But let's get those scriptures that I had mentioned in passing. All right, let's go to Matthew 24 and 24. All right, and it says, "For there shall arise false Christs, or Hamashiachs, and false prophets." We're already seeing a lot of them, "and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." It says, if it were possible. This is why you should be circumspect. All right. And like the scriptures also say, and in fact, let me get that real quick. Let's see. Sirach, is it 5? I think it's the last verse. Yeah, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. All right. So you want to be up on everything so as to, you know, not being taken like a lot of these people in the world are going to be. All right. What's the other one I was thinking about? Oh yeah, hold on. Let's see. 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." All right. So yeah, he's going out. I mentioned Revelation 13th chapter. We'll come back to that. But who knows? Is this tethered? Is there something? I mean, that's a hell of a tether. But is there something way up there? It's got a line, because he did say it tripped a power line. So we'll see. Hold on.
Understand how the thing is like floating sideways and is able to go up and down and maneuver without wings or propulsion or any sort of a heat signature?
Yeah, they had some speculation. I'm not sure that I agree with what their speculation was, but they tend to think that shape within the sphere resembles the Tesla coil and the tower that Tesla had invented, and so which has to do with creating static electricity. Anyway, the scientists in Mexico City, not to be confused with the scientists that were from the United States that came down to take the samples. But the scientists in Mexico City had come up with that theory. I'm not sure that I buy that theory, but again, if you can, I'm from Missouri. If you can show me, I'll believe it. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Another way that you could explain these objects is that they might be tethered. They might be tethered from a larger drone that's very high above these orbs. That's a
hell of a lot of
that's
line.
tethering it and like almost like a fishing bob.
Yeah.
So that could be an explanation, but at the end of the day, I was there to see that. Also, we had reports that there were mummies that were found in Peru that were alien mummies. And whenever I spoke with David Grush, he was the whistleblower from the Pentagon that studied this stuff. I was actually probably not going to go because I thought that there's no way that that's real. And he recommended that I do because he said that based on the physiology of what he's seen in some of these mummies, not all of them, some of them are faked, but some of the mummies that exist in Peru, that based on the physiology, they are congruent with what he has seen in briefings in his former role.
Can you tell us a little bit about the international collaboration and whether or not you feel like the United States has a pathway to getting straight answers from other governments that are also looking into this or not, in fact?
Yeah, I speak a little bit of Japanese, and which has been helpful because the congressmen in Japan have been reaching out, and I've been on a couple of meetings with them. They're looking to create something similar to what the United States has, which is Arrow. So they're looking to create a program because they have a significant number of sightings in Japan as well, particularly over nuclear sites and over water, which is what we consistently see in the United States.
These hearings that are going on, obviously trying to get to the bottom of this. There are, of course, Jeremy Corbell, James Fox, George Knapp, others. There's so many whistleblowers who are ready to come to Washington. They've got these stories. They've worked in the government. They've worked on these classified programs. Where are we with all of that? Are we going to get some big answers soon, are you hoping?
I think we're just trying to make progress right now. We're trying to look. I've been frustrated in this experience. For example, one of the individuals that recently retired, the deputy director of Arrow, he was on a media circuit where he said that he spoke with the Department of Defense and the individual that was managing the special access programs that he had access to, and was prepared to give that briefing to myself and other members of of the disclosure task force, and they were denied the ability to give us that briefing by someone in leadership, whether he believed it was either the speaker or the chairman. But so we're trying to figure out what exactly happened. It's extremely frustrating when you're put into a position where you're supposed to be investigating something and you're getting blocked at every turn. So that's kind of where it is frustrating. That's why I'm doing everything I can to kind of to continue to push. And if there are whistleblowers, if anybody's watching this and you have something to say, please reach out, because we're trying to get information from any place that we can.
No, you just opened the floodgates, because I've got a lot. I've got a lot of whistleblowers who've both been on my show and have been trying to get answers and get. So I'll have my people reach out to your people, Congressman, and we'll do that. Before we let you go, we've got to get an update real quick here, to get you back to work. Representative Comer trying to get answers on this Biden auto pen scandal. The people who are actually running the White House hearings, and now we're getting stonewalling from Jill Biden's head honcho, who apparently was running the show, is not going to testify. Comer says he's going to subpoena him to testify. Where do things stand right now with that?
Yeah, we're looking to get him in. I think what Comer is going to do is we'll treat it the same way we did the Hunter Biden investigation. But Hunter turned us down for request, so we ended up having to subpoena him, bring him in under deposition, and that was an hours long deposition, and then the goal was to have a hearing afterwards. So I think that's probably the path that they're going to continue down. Comer, he will dot his I's and cross his T's. He'll do as much work as possible before he goes. We take it to the public.
Representative Eric Burleson, I love that we can have you on to talk about the government, corruption in the Biden administration, and then also UFOs. Thank you so much for this, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the thing, regardless where this goes, that's not supposed to be our focus, all right? Our faith, getting right with Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, and what we're doing is out there on highways and byways telling our people, hey, the time for repentance is nigh at hand. This is nothing to joke around with, but we know our people, hey, that's why it says so, that remnant, because it's going to be so few. All right, but again, let's go Revelation 13. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. All right. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Meaning, this is the revived Roman Empire, all right, which we know that circa 47, somewhere in there, supposedly, at least they say officially, is when the first Roman Empire met its end, up until the Renaissance, when these devils, these Edomites, in the Renaissance era, came back into power. And then you get into Revelation 20, where what that's talking about, and they were let loose for that little season in order to deceive, and boy, have they done so. So that's why you need to keep in these scriptures, and we're doing per Ezekiel 3rd chapter, trying to we know our people are extremely hard-headed, as it states in that chapter, all right, in the beginnings there, about their foreheads being hard as flint, all right. We have to be equally, if not more so, hard, all right? Especially in these days, because, like I said, when I read Matthew 24 and 24, you have a lot of nut jobs coming out, you know. Well, I'm this, you need to follow me, blah, 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 blah. Even those that, especially those that supposedly know that they're Israelites. All right, this is a weeding out process. All right, that should be expected. It's not going to be easy. All right, but regardless of where this goes, it's not that important. All right, there's many other things that we should be concerned about. That really being the least. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. Remember, this is redacted. Let's see. I was going to get some comments, but we'll see. Like the first comment, what is this distracting us from should always be our first question. All right. Let's see. All right. Yep. We always got our jokesters. Here it is. It's all a distraction. And anyway, they will never tell us. There you go. Like I said, it's a distraction. It's a fucking distraction. All right. But nonetheless, I decided to report it. You know, it's... hey. But once again, we know what's really important. And I'm telling you, this is the time. Might as well get that other scripture. All right, and I'll close with this. I promise. This is Sirach 5. All right, I'll start at 4. It says, "Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me? For the Most High is long-suffering. He will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin." Let's look that up. Propitiation. Propitiation. Let's see. All right. There we go. Okay. The act of, okay, something that especially, all right. Let's see. The act of atoning for sin or wrongdoing. All right. The act of delivering from sin or saving from evil. All right. Something done or paid in expiation of a wrong. All right. How can I make amends? All right. Amends, appeasement, atonement, conciliation. All right. So there you go. All right. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin. And say not, his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners. And here's my point. Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed. That's the thing with Jake. They think they got it. Whatever good job they think they got. They maybe got a house, whatever. You know, and they're secure. And it's telling you in this here, don't get caught up in that. All right? Because as all the scriptures say about 2 Peter 3 and 10 and 11 about you know, he's coming back as a thief. That's just one of the scriptures, all right? And what should be your mindset, I'm paraphrasing, of course, knowing these things, all right? And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. There you go. Oh, I might as well read 8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity. And that's mainly talking about these Edomites and all these others. But Jake too, all right. Be it concerned as other scriptures, but like I said, for time, I think it's this is Sirach 31 about being your main focus being on attaining wealth, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. You know, trying to make that money, and they're getting ready to do away with it, and going digital. All right, and it's all going to be for naught. It's vain, you know. But I'm gonna end it there. You know, it's just your priorities, especially in this day and time, with things winding down. This economy is getting ready to crash. The elites want to pull the plug on America. Like I said, it's antiquated. It's outdated. Major changes are coming very, very soon here. So in any case, another video. I hope whoever views this is edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom. Remember, be circumspect.